There you go. No, dude. All right, go back to top.
Okay, sorry about this. I'm not very technological, as you all know. So, but I did want to, announce, welcome everybody to this meeting of, we're celebrating our 50th year of Tampa Audubon being incorporated. So I just wanted to say, we do have some people here from the Tampa Garden Club. So we're glad to have you with us. Very glad to have you here. And this is only the third time that we've gotten together since the pandemic. We've had field trips, but we've been doing all of our meetings by Zoom. And so being able to be together is just wonderful. And I wanted to say thank you to the Garden Club, Michelle. Michelle is our hostess. Thank you so much for letting us use your beautiful facility. Really glad to be here. And I also want to point out that if you need a hat or other things that are from Tampa Audubon, we have them for sale in the little foyer. And those will be available a couple of minutes after the meeting too. So if you didn't have a chance to get that stuff and at least look at it and see what it is, a good opportunity to get started on your Christmas gifts and stuff and get that out of the way. So okay, so just to review a little bit, this is who we are. We are a part of the National Audubon Society in Audubon, Florida. And our mission is to conserve and restore ecosystems, focusing on birds, wildlife, and their habitats, using education, like our meeting tonight, advocacy, and involvement of the community. So we've got some field trips coming up. Wanted to let you know, and you can go online also and see about these, but we have one a week from Saturday that I'm leading out at Lettuce Lake Park. That's always fun. And then the Saturday after that, Jim's over here. Jim's going to be leading a trip over to the Bahia Beach Reserve. And then after that, the next Saturday after that, Lily is going to be leading a trip to Upper Tampa Bay Conservation Park, which is a beautiful park in West Hillsborough County, just gorgeous. So then we've got some trips planned for December. It's a busy time for us because not only do we have, the holidays and so forth, but we also have the Christmas bird counts. So anyway, at the beginning of the month, we're going to have a field trip up to Gainesville. Really great spot, one of the best spots in Florida for birding. It's really pretty up there on Paints Prairie. So if you can go to that, you will like it. And then again, we are doing our bird walk at Lettuce Lake Park, which is always fun. So, and it's really, we always see something fun there. But we've got, just to let you know, we've got some overnight field trips planned, one a month, good for Tampa Audubon. So we're going around the state. We're going out to the Panhandle with Apalachicola. Then we're going to the East Coast of Merritt Island. We're going down to central, middle Florida, Avon Park Bombing Range. And then we're going to head at the Florida Ornithological Society. We'll be meeting back up at Merritt Island. And then we're going to go up to Cedar Key in April. So a lot of fun trips to do and kind of think about those and figure out how you can get on them. So the other thing that's coming up are the Christmas bird counts. And this is a picture of Frank Chapman. He was an ornithologist, very important at the beginning of the conservation movement. And his mother lived in Gainesville. So he spent a lot of time in Florida. But he started something called the Christmas bird count. The tradition was to go out after everybody's ate every bite they could eat at the feast, the Christmas feast, And then they get their guns, their new guns that they maybe had just gotten, and go out and shoot everything that they could see. So instead of that, he said, let's don't kill all the birds we can see, let's count them. And it began the beginning of what is an incredible citizen science project that now includes 20 countries in the Western Hemisphere. This is just the North and Central and South America that's involved in this. You know, Europe and all those guys, they don't get to. So they could if they wanted, but they aren't yet. So, but we have two that Tampa Audubon sponsors. One, the Tampa Christmas bird count, which is actually 50 years old this year, which is incredible. And 50 years, Tampa Audubon's been doing the Christmas bird count. And it's the 26th year for the Alafaya count. So those are the dates for those. And you don't have to be an expert birder to do this. What we need is really good birders, and then we need other people to help them spot the birds. So we team you up if you're a medium or a beginning birder, and it's a great day to learn a lot with somebody who's really good, and have a great day in the field. And it's for science. So again, you know, I always want to remind everybody, our Hillsborough County's Environmental Lands Program has great opportunities to get out and see, you know, the lands that have been purchased for our enjoyment. Okay, and then we have volunteers needed for Project Colony Watch. Tammy's in the back here, and she organizes that. That gets busy when the birds are starting to nest in colonies in the spring. And then Project Burrow, which is installing artificial burrows for burrowing owls. It's a lot of fun and really interesting. I'll talk about that again just in a second. And then bluebirds, and Mary is here. Right here. Mary is right here. Mary and a number of people are ready. And John, there's John. And a number of people who are also in this room. Sherry is very active. Sherry, yeah. Outside. Okay, I'm just twisting and turning, trying to find everybody. But Sherry's out there and she's very active with bluebirds with Mary. But we actually have 5 bluebird trails that operate with Tampa Audubon volunteers in the region. And it's been a remarkable activity and a lot of fun. And those of us who love bluebirds, thank you, Mary, for all you do and your volunteers for that. So just so you know, some of us were out at the Project Burrow last Saturday. And what we did was we cut down the vegetation that was around the habitats that we've installed. And we're hoping that the Bell Creek Burrowing Owl project will get owls this year. Didn't last year, but you know, hope springs eternal. What we have found out is that in the 1940s, Hillsborough County had more burrowing owls than anywhere else in the United States. And now we have the fewest. Wow. So this project's really important. We can help owls do better in this county by installing artificial burrows. You can see the opening there with PVC in front of Sandy and her husband and son. So also our Hooked Birds project, this is a really important project that we're really proud of. We've actually paid for and produced videos. And so Tampa Audubon did this. So I just want to say, go online to our website and watch these videos and make sure everybody who you know who's a fisherman watches them too. Even if you're not a fisherman, you might encounter a bird that was hooked and you can save its life. So how to do it safely, that's what's on the videos. So also I wanted to let you know that Tampa Audubon, and this is, I think, the 16th year we've been doing this, is hosting Natural Hillsborough. It's a class with the University of South Florida's Osher's Lifelong Learning Institute. And this will be January through March, 1 hour of lecture with a walk on Lettuce Lake Park. And if you want to do this, you register through the University of South Florida Continuing Education website there. And it's a lot of fun. Those things are fun. So we've also got our Florida Young Birders Club. And if you have a young birder, this is an opportunity for them to share outings and knowledge. And the kids are running it. The kids designed the logo. How cool is that? And then, of course, today, Jonathan has kicked off some new ideas with regard to our photo club. We're going to have a photo contest starting now. You know, you could have been out the last 2 days. You could have already been taking pictures, but you can use pictures from earlier in the year, right, Jonathan?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can
Last 12
enter.
months.
You can enter now. And go online and you can enter the contest. And we're going to, at the January meeting, no, that'll be too soon, maybe the February meeting. January or February meeting will announce the winners. We'll have to figure that out. So, and then Jonathan is thinking it would be fun to do themes for the months, but we will always have the same opportunity to share your photos. So the themes would be just part of the monthly meetings. So it's going to be fun. And always just keep an eye out for any birds that are dead in your yard. Don't pick them up with your hands. You know, use a shovel or something to throw them in the garbage. And if you start to see dead birds around, you may want to pick up your feeders for a few days. So this is very important. Both Polk and Pasco counties are putting on their website for the November voters to approve acquisition of environmental lands in their counties. So we can't vote for this because we don't live in their counties, but if you have a friend or a relative or somebody who lives in that county, call them up and tell them how important our environmental lands program is for us and encourage them to vote for this. I was just talking to someone who has a $500,000 house in Polk County, and he said, yeah, it's going to cost him $25 a year to support this program. So it's not that expensive. So, and we're going to be at the Wonders of Wildlife Festival at Menard Park in a couple weeks. Actually Saturday, not a couple weeks. So we're leading field trips and we're going to have our booth there. So, you know, that'll be fun if you can do that. And that brings us up to our talk for next month, which will not be here. We're meeting every other month. We're here and then also at the extension office. So next month in December, we'll be at the extension office, first day of December. And our speaker is Nancy Morrow talking about the raptor rescue and birds of prey. So that's the end of this. Can we switch over to that? Okay. So with it, I just want to say I'm really happy to be able to share with you John Lampkin, who has come to us from a great distance in Sun City Center. But he is a remarkable person who is very generous with his energy and his time and his knowledge. And we are very fortunate to have him come and talk to us about some of the other animals, not just the birds, so that we love. So, John.
Here to be here to see some old friends and to make some new ones. It's a wonderful club you have here, and it's a wonderful venue for having these programs. Okay, there we go.
Oh.
Hopefully we get rid of it. Okay.
Hold on.
Can you check that the people on for hearing sound of it?
Well, yeah, and it's,
I assume I do need the microphone.
yeah. I want to make sure they can see the give me just a second. Yeah, give me just a second.
Okay, I'll tell you a little bit about my camera. There were so many good photographers here tonight in this photo show. I use a Nikon D75 fluid. I have a triple flash set up and go docs. So it was all of these pictures that you're going to see tonight are by me. They're all taken with the D7500 with the triple flash. What the triple flash does is it eliminates the shadow artifacts.
Oh, I don't see that.
And we're making progress.
Oh, no. It's showing me the wrong thing.
What is a triple flash? Okay, so there's a, when you click the shutter, it fires central infrared signal. A signal of some form that triggers the three flashes simultaneously, and one above and two on the side. So, but they cancel each other, the shadows all cancel each other out. Okay, there we go. So we've got the first slide up. The butterflies dive to the galaxy, or at least Florida. So this is Hayward, Florida. Let's do the next slide.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
We're not picking up the, so could you
Yeah.
put that up here, and John, if you stand right there, then. you
Oh, they
can-
can't hear. Gotcha.
Yeah, because the computer,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Okay. Okay, so here's a riddle for you. What does Tampa Audubon and me, John Lampkin, and this picture here all have in common?
That's about.
Yeah, we're all wingnuts. So it's a matter of scale.
That's it.
Birds have big wings and butterflies have smaller ones. So what is a butterfly? Traditionally, we think of them, or the two big features are the scaled wings. Lepidoptera does mean indeed scaled wings. And the proboscis is unique to the Lepidoptera. And we're going to be looking at that. Is this working okay?
That's not screen sharing. Sorry.
So what we're trying to do, if you don't know, is we're trying to share this on Zoom with people who aren't here. So that's the technological difficulty, and because we haven't ever tried to do it in this location before, you know, we're
Good.
working out, and we're not gonna. So, but we are, you know, John, we're volunteers.
You're good now.
Is there any way you can turn that around and you can face us and still do that?
I think so.
Yeah. I think
So
you
that
can
turn it
do that.
around.
Yeah. that would
I
work.
much prefer to face the audience.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see what's up there on your screen.
Well, not only that, I can see the tomatoes. That's the big thing, self-defense. Okay, so what is the butterfly? Lepidoptera means scaled wings. Proboscis means unique tongue. It's a unique tongue that's only the Lepidopteras have. So this is Gulf fritillary. A lot of you know this. It's a very common butterfly in our yards, especially if you grow maypop. And what I did, well, looking at it, it looks like those spots on the wings are solid colors, right? But if you look very closely, all right, let's try this. If you look very closely, you see that those colors are actually made up of scales. Some of them are overlapping, some of them are just side by side. And each one is only 100 microns. And yes, I took this with my handheld Nikon D7500. Actually, I think I was on a tripod for this. But if there are 3,200,000 scales on a typical Gulf fritillary, I know because I counted them all. And I had them all laid out end to end to measure them. And then Ian came. So I had to start all over. But no, doing the math, it works out that if we were to do that, it would be a chain 2 miles long. And here's a shot of an individual ones. Did I say that I love my camera? I mean, really. Well, we live in a wonderful age. Okay, and those scales are much like this painting by George Seurat, his famous Afternoon on the Grand Jeté, whatever it is. And each one of these little things is made up of little tiny dabs of paint. He put on each dab of paint individually, and they're very, very, very small. It's really impressive. And this, looking at this doesn't do it justice because this thing covers an entire wall in the museum itself. So you've probably been told, and maybe you tell little kiddies, that a butterfly tongue, the proboscis, is like a straw. Don't do that anymore. This is what it looks like with an electron microscope. And wow, somebody said, wow. I wish you all could hear that because that's exactly the reaction. So notice there's no hole in the end. It's all open on the sides. And this was a black and white electron microscope photograph that Susumu Nishinaga did this artistic rendering of. He colorized it in this way. Now, Susumi's brother is the very famous Japanese lawyer, Sosumi. It's going to get worse. That is why when a butterfly lays its proboscis in a flower, it's not sticking it in point first. It's laying it down flat because you saw those openings on the side. It's much more like a sponge than it is a soda straw. Oh, boy, there we go. Okay, the other piece of misinformation you may have heard was that the proboscis co-evolved with the angiosperms, the flowering plants. And this just isn't true. The first moths appeared 65 million years before there were flowering plants. So even though today we see butterflies drinking the nectar, moths drinking the nectar, it wasn't always so. What did they drink? One thing they did was what they do today is they soak up salts from the ground. And we can tell that this is a male butterfly. This is a male cloud of sulfur. And does anybody know how we can tell? I guess not. I'm gonna have to use this water. Everybody's looking for the thingy or the whatchamacallit, right? No, you can't see it. But the reason that we know that it's a male is because males absorb the salts and then pass it on to the female in the sperm packet. So the females don't go to these puddles. And this process is called puddling, by the way. And sometimes you see, dozens and dozens in Central America. You can find hundreds of them puddling all together. Okay, and then they eat other things like doggy doo, poopy, caca. Those are all technical terms. Am I going too fast? And another myth, butterflies are not vegetarians exclusively. Some of them are carnivores. And these are all Gulf frigillaries, those lovable creatures in our yards, drinking blood from a dead armadillo. And I'm one of those people that never passes up roadkill, not for a yummy dinner, but to look and see who's visiting it, because there's always a hierarchy of visitors. In fact, I've got moths visiting dead animals that wound up in a scientific paper over in London a while back. And after they visited the dead armadillo, they're going to come land on your finger. Well, it's just like your dog, licks the toilet bowl and then comes over and gives you a kiss, right? Anyway, these are Hadberry emperors, and there you can see the proboscis. there. And they're just soaking up the salts from the sweat on the finger. And you can attract hackberry emperors by licking your finger, sticking it out and coaxing them onto it. And that's what we did here. And then we did dueling hackberries. Whoa! Holy Toledo. That's a crocodile in Costa Rica. I photographed this in June. That is the Julia butterfly. And yes, Julias are here just down the road at Schultz Preserve. We just had one at a field trip just yesterday. And so what is it doing? It's drinking the salt from the crocodile's eye. Isn't this fun? Okay, so wait a minute. Okay, I gotta back up. So we have blood, we have sweat, we have tears, we've got a band. Okay, so when I find something like this, the first thing I want to do is write a poem. The butterflies over the yucky, for carrion and crocodiles, no fears, for sweat glands and caca piles, 3 cheers. In the blink of an eye, I'll take to the sky, loaded with blood, sweat, and tears. Move over Robert Frost. Or not. Okay, so Lepidoptera take up, wow, look at this. This is all living things. Look how many Lepidopteras there are. That's 7%. Look how few vertebrates there are. Moths and butterflies outnumber birds many times over. And until you see a pie chart like this, you don't really realize that. And all of these are insects. Look how much of the pie is taken up there. Pretty interesting. And in the order Lepidoptera, well, actually, yeah, in the order Lepidoptera, these are the superfamilies. All of them are moths, except for the way to pronounce this is Papilio, no idea. Because I don't know what half of those moths are. You know. So anyway, we're not going to talk about all of these moths. We're going to just focus on the Papilio, no idea, and break it down into the families that are there. And the thing about these butterfly families, you know, if you go to other butterfly presentations, oftentimes they give you all the field marks for this or that, and you leave and you can't remember any of them. We're not going to do that. What I hope to give you tonight is just an overview so that you'll see the family. So you'll see a butterfly out there and you'll at least know what family it is, because they make a lot of sense. When you start to look at them, you see the common features. So that's what we're going to do. So the swallowtails are easy to remember because they all have swallowtails. And that's a giant swallowtail. And that's a pest in the citrus orchards. This is also a giant swallowtail, meaning giant, meaning big. This is our eastern tiger swallowtail, male and female. We have our zebra swallowtail, arguably one of our most beautiful swallowtails around. The toxic pipevine swallowtail is a mimicry model. Now, what that means is that if you eat it, you're going to get very sick. Its host plant as a caterpillar is Aristolochia, which is the Dutchman's pipe, that kind of flower, and it's full of listoloic acid. So that's sequestered by the caterpillar and it makes it very toxic. Now, all of these butterflies here look like the pipeline. Here's the pipeline up here. All these other species, to some degree, mimic that. And mimicry is another term that's often misunderstood. The way it's written and the way it's often presented, it sounds like these butterflies want to look like this pipeline. They do no such thing. Don't even know what a pipeline swallowtail is. But what happens is, because this is such a nasty tasting bug, when a bird eats it, It only eats it once and it remembers, and somehow even all birds seem to know not to try it even. So these other ones that look vaguely like it, the more they look like it, the more they're going to survive. They make babies, and the babies inherit the genes for that particular look. So gradually, as time goes on, they all start to look more and more like this. Look at this. This isn't even a swallowtail. But it still has that protection.
Sorry. The people at home are seeing the presentation screen and not this. The, what machine is this? There's a escape button. They're seeing like this, part of this. What they're not seeing is the, there's the escape button. There we go. What they're not seeing is the presentation. So almost, come on. Stop share just for a second. We're going to start the presentation. I apologize. The people at home are getting frustrated.
That's why this takes a minute. Anybody been out looking at birds recently? Have a story you want to tell us?
I can't get,
What are you trying to get to?
I'm trying to get this out of the way so I can
Bird story.
get out of the share menu so I can start the presentation and go back to it. Let's start the presentation.
Go back to it.
No, don't do the share yet. Start the presentation first.
Okay. Oh, cancel. Start the presentation.
From current slide. And now then, while the presentation is in
But
progress,
now you're in this room.
Yes. Oh, okay. Thank you, Tammy, for.
now you can share. Is that the wrong? That's the yes, that's one we're seeing here, right? Which is okay.
That's what I see online right now.
But they see this right now. But when we hit the share button, once we hit the share button, we got to make sure we hit not his presenter mode. That's desktop.
This one.
That one. Share.
Might want to see that.
See if that's what that going.
Is that something different from the article that you
It's
just
coming.
sent out? I think so, because it's on the television. Oh, okay. Yeah, channel 13. So I think it's different, but,
Not showing anything now.
he was.
Not so
featured
bad.
in
I
an
can make it
article
worse.
that we're gonna put on our website, and I think will be in the next newsletter, so that you'll be able to read that too. So.
You got to get the
questions
presentation
you
going, and then you got to get.
longer.
It's not going yet. You have to run the presentation before you share it.
Okay.
Everybody read this letter? Okay. Good.
I'm not very good. Not the presenter view. Not the presenter view, the presentation. Though.
Yeah. So one of the things.
Is that the
we
reason?
did in the newsletter this
All
last
right, try it.
was me talking about, I get to write.
That's the edit mode again.
And I
Mhm.
said,
You think?
To everybody.
See.
So I talk about how people ask me the question
look at this
all
box
the
here.
time
Okay.
about why do you do bird watching? So just so you know, if you want to see why I go bird watching, you should read the newsletter and see why I said that. Okay.
We're good.
Good.
Should be good now. Sorry, John.
Okay.
We're losing power.
Worst things have happened. Having nothing to do with my marriage. So where were we? So these are all mimics. And then we're going to look at the periods, which are the whites. And we have the great southern white and the checkered white. Those are only two whites in Florida. And we have a lot of sulfurs. And you can tell what a sulfur is because they're all yellow. So if you see, oh, there's a yellow butterfly, you're 100% accurate. And then this, the group is called the yellow, the periods. Orange barred sulfurs, barred yellows have two seasonal forms. And this is why butterflies get to be tricky and people get frustrated. These are both the same species. They have two forms, winter and the summer. The butterfly himself, herself, does not change color. It's the offspring, they alternate generations. So in the winter, you're gonna see this one, and the summer, you're gonna see that one. So the barred yellows, this is a dainty sulfur. And once again, here's a mated pair. Notice how different they are. Male and female, and it's hard to tell them apart sometimes. Southern dog face, because you can see the outline of the dog up there, sort of. I don't know, to me, it looks like a squashed wings. But that's supposed to be a dog's face. We don't have so many of these down here. They're mainly up in Pasco. Oops, sorry about that. And so we have a little yellow, and with this shot, the wing, sometimes butterflies, the word for emerge from the chrysalis is eclose. Sometimes they eclose with a distorted wing, and that's what we have here. That's why that wing is sort of at an angle. But it gives us the advantage of seeing what the top side of the wing looks like, because periods, the whites and the yellows, usually keep their wings really close together, so you can't see what they look like from the top. Sleepy orange. And now I'm going to give away my camera to the first person that can spot the butterfly and identify it to species. Okay, time's up. Anybody find it? Yes. Give that woman an extra jelly donut. Yeah. And that is our barred yellow. That's the winter form. The barred yellow winter form. And that's why it's. Say again. Moving on. All right, the lysinids include some of our most beautiful butterflies, and the common name is easy. Blues are blue. So if you see a blue butterfly, it's a blue. That's what could be easier, except that some are brown. Like, and these pygmy blues, we have Eastern pygmy blues here. We did our 4th of July Napa count a couple of weeks ago, and at Fort DeSoto, a place we all know and love for sure, we found Western pygmy blues. Whoa! And then we realized that they must have been here a long time, and now they're finding them all up and down the Gulf. Hair streaks are also in that same group, and they're called hair streaks because of these things here, these hairs. And notice that how much the butt of the butterfly looks like the face. We have a black eye, like some people, you know, right? So we have the eye here, we have this dark spot here, we have the orange, we got the orange, we got the antenna, we got the hairs and things. The idea here is that this is going to fool a predator into striking at the wrong end. Really. And from the rear view, it looks like this. And these are shots, these rear view shots. I think I'm the only photographer who ever takes them regularly. But the field guides always show this. All right. But this is actually more interesting because the hair streaks do this. They scissor their legs like this. So that makes the antenna look like they're wiggling. And then look at this picture. You can see that the antenna, excuse me, the big antenna here actually cross. So the illusion is even more striking when the scissors its wings. So like I said, a bird is going to come along and take a bite out of the wrong. That's exactly what happened there. So that's a defensive mechanism, and that gives the butterfly enough time to escape. She can lay her eggs. He has another chance to mate with a female, perhaps. And some of our most beautiful butterflies are the hair streaks. This is a gray hair streak. Easy to tell because it's gray. This is a juniper hair streak named for the host plants. And they eat red cedar. There's a lot of these up at Crystal River. We had about 50 of them on a field trip a couple of years ago. Great purple hair streaks. The host plant for this is mistletoe. If you have oak trees with mistletoe in the yard, leave it alone. They're going to tell you that it's going to kill the tree. Eventually it will, a couple hundred years from now. But in the meantime, you might be lucky enough to get one of these in your yard. And this one is on sparkleberry up in Withlacoochee. This is an Atala, and something exciting has happened. This was a butterfly that's usually down in Miami-Dade County. It was thought to be extirpated for a long time. The host plant is a plant called Kunti. Does anybody know what Kunti is? Right? And the early colonists here dug it all up and ate the starchy roots. So the plant was thought to be extirpated from Florida. But Roger Hammer, bless his heart, went out and found both the plant and then he found the butterfly. And now everybody plants Kunti in their yards. And the butterfly made a stunning comeback. And we, my friend Delia Smith just found a colony of them, a dozen flying in Sarasota. So it's moving northwards. It's soon to be in a theater near you. This is a metal mark. Someone will ask about metal mark at the dinner table here. This is what they look like. And they're named for that metallic band. Looks like a metallic band, but it's actually just refracted light. So the nymphalid family includes some of our best known butterflies, and they're known as brushwoods because of the greatly reduced foreleg here. It looks like she only has 4 legs, right? See, this is the middle leg and the hind leg. Those are the legs that she walks on. And that's true for all of them. And in this picture of the snout, isn't that cool, bud? These are the 4 legs here, and they're so tiny that she can't even walk, and they don't even reach the finger. Oh, look at that. There's the proboscis soaking up splitting it. See how it's laid flat? You will never see it stuck in straight. It's not a straw. And this is the Julia, you know, the one that was drinking the crocodile tears. This is at Schultz Preserve, which is the northernmost colony of Sculias in the state of Florida. And this is our state butterfly, the zebra heliconian, and everybody knows what this is. That's pollen. This is the only butterfly that actually eats pollen. Very close to the mouth there. It looks like she's trying to eat it there. But I think what happens is she moistens it before actually swallowing it. This is our only fritillary that we have in the area. Across the country, it's a very common butterfly. There's a lot of different species. And very similar to the crescents, we have 2 of them. We have a phaon and we have pearl crescent. These are called polygons because they look like polygons. This looks like a trapezoid, doesn't it? This is a question mark, as often found puddling. And then this is my golf cart tire that happens to have a red admiral butterfly that landed on it. From below, they're stunning. I mean, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh my God. This is all over. At Schultz Preserve, it's a regular at the Forestiera, the Florida privet. So there's a lot of them. My personal record for them is 10,000 of them in a field in Walker Hill Preserve up in New Jersey on one of our butterfly counts. They can erupt, they can have huge population explosions for reasons we'll talk about in a bit. And this is an American lady. And this is a white peacock that's being eaten by an ambush bug. Look how small the bug is compared to the butterfly. It can bring down very huge prey. This is of course, our beloved monarch, and it has just eclosed from its chrysalis here. And then the alert observer might say, but John, that isn't milkweed. That looks like a grass. And the alert observer would be correct. That is indeed a grass. Butterflies often leave their host plant. The caterpillars leave their host plant and often will make their chrysalis on something different. Not entirely clear why that is generally the case. The monarch has two lookalikes, a viceroy and a queen. Both of them are toxic. So these three species make another mimicry ring. This is one that you don't see very often unless you go out to a place like Kissimmee Prairie. This is, you have to wade out in the saw palmetto fields there to find it. The satyr, the Georgia satyr. And then grass skippers, I think the technical term is pain in the butt, because they all look like, this is all the same species. Whoa. So we have the female and the male. Here's what the male looks like above, the female above, and the male looks like this. So in order to learn one species, you have to learn 4 different versions of it. So this is why people say, I don't do skippers. You know, I'll do the other butterflies, but I won't do the skippers. The spread wing skippers are easier to identify. Mangrove, the silver spot, that's easy to remember, isn't it? The Durante's longtail. And here we have a long-tailed skipper, and you can tell, what is it doing? It's laying an egg. It's just laid the egg. In fact, I don't know for sure what that little flap is, but I think it's how she flaps it up against the plant. I have to really ask someone who knows these things. Because it's very difficult to study the anatomy without dissecting, which I really don't care to do. But so she's laid eggs on the host plant here. Even though there were other eggs laid there previously, she's laying another one. So the eggs are always rounder, tapered, smoother, textured. These are all egg shots that I've taken over the years. And notice that we're moving from smooth, I arrange them so you see them from smooth, getting more and more textured, and then from round to more and more pointy. And so you can identify eggs, the species, just by the egg. And also you can identify by whether they're laid singly or in clusters. So here's a polyphemus moth caterpillar. The eggs, of course, hatch into caterpillars. And I picked this moth because it's huge. I mean, this is a big caterpillar, and it's really easy to show you the characteristics of it. So here's a close-up of the head. And these are the mandibles. And notice that their arrangement. She eats like this. Well, they go together. We chew up and down. A caterpillar chews side to side. These are the caterpillars have 12. Caterpillars have 12 eyes, 6 on each side, and you can see them there. And effectively, they're blind as a bat because the eyes are so small they don't see anything. Caterpillars are eating machines. All they do is eat. They're designed for eating. In the middle of the body, we have what are called pro legs. They don't have any amateur legs. They're all pro. So, boy, this is a tough crowd. So if we look at this, Is this touch sensitive? No. Okay, but if I don't dare touch this. We can zoom in on those little things. You see those little hooks there? Those are called crochets. Every Lepidopteran caterpillar has those little hooks. And they're called crochets because magnified, they look like little crochet hooks. The hairs are used not for protection, but for sensing where they are, because remember, they're effectively blind. So these things, just like the hairs on your arm, will let you know if you're brushed up against something. So I did a close-up of that, one of those pro legs opening up. You see, this is just one of those close-up, and you can see how they're actually arranged in 2 rows. A guy named Alva Peterson actually studied caterpillar feet. And he categorized all those, remember that long list of moth families. It turns out that they all have unique patterns of crochets on their feet. You probably didn't know that. I didn't know it either. So now guess what I'm doing? I'm photographing every caterpillar foot I can find. I'll do a program for you. I wonder how many people will come. Wolverine, but because it's such an arcane subject, he had to come up with his own terminology. Like my ordinal homoideus mesoseries crochets. Whoa! And he expected people to buy his book. They did. It's like the scroll printing, because he's the only guy that studied. He was the first guy to study caterpillars as intensively. So this is a chrysalis. And you take a second to figure out how it got into that position there. You look at it and it looks like that thread there came last. It made its chrysalis and then it somehow stuck that up. Actually, the threads came first. No, and it's a miracle to watch it happen. It's amazing. This is a black swallowtail chrysalis. The zebra heliconians, as soon as they mate, before they mate, as soon as the female ecloses from her chrysalis, this is the female who's come out of her chrysalis. Even before she was out of that chrysalis, the male was there, ready to mate with her. And I've read papers, they call it butterfly rape. And it's no such thing. She's emitting pheromones saying that she's ready to mate while she's still in that chrysalis. That's what attracts the male. It's not that the male's any kind of a bad guy. She is ready. Why is she ready so early? Why doesn't she just fly around a bit and have fun, smell good as flowers? Well, because she's under tremendous time pressure. She's going to get eaten any minute. So the sooner she's mated and out there laying eggs, the better chance that species has of surviving. And this is our state butterfly. And so, because she's emitting these pheromones, males from all the way in the neighborhood come over and to look at her. And this gives a photographer a good opportunity to see those male genitalia. And these things here are called claspers. So that they fit into the female. This is her genital opening here. And inside she has, it's like a lock and key. Those claspers go in and they lock in place. So that when this happens, that's the female on top and the male on the bottom. He's not dangling by his thingy. They're locked together with those claspers. And so it can't be painful because they fly around like this. You see pictures even of monarchs flying around, joined together like that. So here's everybody's forgotten the name already. The Atala or the Atala. And here comes another male. You see, what's that white thing? That, my friends, is a genital brush, or it's also called a hairpins. And what this is, a male who's come over and he sees them mating. he whips out his hair pencil, it opens up like an umbrella, spraying pheromones everywhere, and he's trying to entice her to leave what's his name and run off with him for a really good time. It didn't work. Now, I myself tried that trick. But the pencil kept falling off. Okay, some of you women may faint when you see this. Guys, you've got, you have hair pencil envy. This is a moth from Borneo. Look at that hair pencil. Isn't that amazing? Now, this is a dead moth. To get it everted like that, the researchers had to invent I'm not making this up, what they call a fallow blaster. It's a little tube that they stick in and inflate it so that sticks out. But, even though I didn't take this picture, it's too good not to share. Okay, let's talk about conservation. Who wants to save the monarch? Everybody. Monarchs face many threats. Ants eat their eggs, other insects and birds eat them as caterpillars and adults, in spite of the fact that they're toxic. Parasites like OE, has everybody heard of EE? Has anybody heard of OE? How many people have heard of OE? I see heads nodding. That's only one of many parasites that feed on caterpillars. Severe weather takes its toll unpredictably. Ian decimated not just our homes, but a lot of the habitat for butterflies. A lot of those butterflies are gone. And my friend Scott Anderson is doing a survey now, seeing how long it takes them to repopulate the area. But can you guess what is one of the largest killers of first instar caterpillars? First instar means right when they first hatch from the egg. Anybody know what kills them? Most of them. My hearing is pickled.
I said wasp.
Wasps. No, they wait for them to get bigger. The biggest killer of first instar caterpillars is milkweed. What? What? No, milkweed. The latex in milkweed is so toxic, so powerful that it kills a lot of these caterpillars. Also, when they bite take their first bite, they'll hit a vein and that latex. Have you ever broken off a milkweed leaf? Yeah. What happens? You get all this sticky stuff on your fingers and you can actually glue your fingers together. And if you get that in your eye, you can go blind from milkweed sap. If you drink a cup of milkweed sap, you're going to die. It's full of cardenolides, which will stop your heart. It'll kill a cow. It'll kill a horse. That's why farmers, ranchers don't like it in their fields. So anyway, how does the caterpillar deal with it? I wish I had a picture to show this, but I do have a picture of a milkweed beetle biting off the end of the milkweed leaf. What they do is they drain out the sap and then eat the leaf. And if any of you raise monarchs, just watch that behavior and you'll see it. And the monarchs make cut little circles for them and then eat from the inside out. And then the milkweed is toxic, so toxic. And this is a picture, a famous picture. I did not take this picture. This is by Lincoln Brower, one of the biggest researchers into monarchs. And he tethered this blue jay. You can see the tether there. You know, it's poor jay is staying up. And then he force fed it monarch butterflies. And then it threw up. So this picture is called the barfing jay. I'm serious. And this is on the cover of one of some nature magazine back 30 years ago. So, of course, you know what's coming. Another poem. To all insectivores, trying to eat me is problematical because I have differences anatomical. Scarf me down for supper and you will be a barfer-upper, making your name insectivorous tragicomical. Okay, like I said, they fall prey to, this is a predatory stink bug eating a caterpillar. This is a praying mantis eating the caterpillar, eating the adult monarch. So the toxins only go so far.
Do they eat like the whole thing or just the body?
I'll answer that by saying that you know what the periodical cicadas are. And the cicadas that can come out, the Native Americans eat them, used to eat them. And I told that to my sister and she cooked up a batch and I said, how were they? She said, well, next time we're going to spit out the wings. Okay, so when this was done, there was just a pile of debris between the wings at the bottom of the thing. They eat the abdomen, and the thorax. Good question. All right, here's a survey, and I want a show of hands. Since 1993, U.S. monarch summer breeding populations on average have A, increased significantly, 1.36% more per year. Have they stayed more or less the same? Or have they decreased significantly, 1.36% fewer per year? That means that translates to about 40%. In other words, are monarch populations today 40% higher or lower? Nationwide, God, you sound so sure. Does anybody think A? Nobody. So you must have seen this headline. Florida monarch butterfly populations have dropped 80% since 2005. Monarch butterfly population moves closer to extinction. The correct answer is A. They have increased significantly at the rate of 1.3%, 6% more per year. I'm just going to let that sink in. Why did everybody get it wrong? Well, we're hearing all the time. So what's wrong with this? Florida monarch butterfly populations have dropped 80% since 2005. Is that true? No, that's a lie. And I'm speaking bluntly. It's a lie. I'm speaking bluntly because it's not true. And any scientist worth his salt would know that that's not a true statement. Why is that there? Well, because this is based on a study done for 30 years, I think, in a single farmer's field in Gainesville on a single species of milkweed, Humistratus, Clepias humistrata. And yes, the population decreased. And it was only over the March. From that, they extrapolated to the entire state of Florida. This is not good science, right, Ann? You cannot take one cow pasture in Gainesville in 1 month time period, take your findings and extrapolate that for the year long over the entire state of Florida. That's just bad science. And I'm a member of the Florida Museum. I volunteer there. But they really dropped the ball on this. And it's the fault of the research team and the editor that got in. What about this one? This is NBC News. The press doesn't lie. Whoa. Yeah. I trust science. I trust good science. I trust good hard data. What I don't trust is bad science and bad scientists and irresponsible headlines like this. Is the monarch butterfly population moving closer to extinction? No. No. No, this is the winter count done again in this 3 or 4 week period and along the California coast. From that, they extrapolate to the entire country, the entire world. United States is not the only place that has monarchs. They're found in Hawaii. They're actually black and white. I've seen them in Trinidad. They're yellow. They're in Australia. And it's stable. And that's what people got upset because the federal agency, whatever, refused to declare it as endangered or threatened, even threatened. He said it's not. It's not. Okay, so what am I basing my data on? This. Monarch butterfly populations are thriving in North America. Now, that's not entirely true either, is it? Because as I said, this data is true. In this farmer's field, it did drop 80%. It's true. More, the numbers keep dropping in California for these winter counts. But we were talking about, if you read this again, you'll see that it's summer breeding populations. Okay, in other words, we can't just look at one little tiny piece of the picture and extrapolate to the whole year, to the whole country, to the whole world. All right, so this is a little bit misleading too, because it's not across the board. And that is based on this paper. Global Change Biology is the name of the magazine. And I'm looking at the authors here. And a lot of these, at least several of them, deal with statistics because those are the ones who crunch the data. But it's based on, I don't know if you all can read this, but I'm just going to touch on the highlights. The author here, Jeffrey Glassberg, has done more for butterflies than any other person in the United States of America. And I say that categorically. He started the North American Butterfly Association. He organized the butterfly counts. Do you all believe that the Christmas bird counts give us valuable data? Of course. That's great. It's the citizen scientist at its best. So the North American Butterfly Association, our counts, our butterfly counts are just as valuable. And we're talking about basing this on 135,000 observations. That means surveys, and I've contributed probably 50 of those over the years. So from 1993 to 2018. And so they examined all of the parameters and cutting to the chase, the average increase across the country is 1.36% per year. And what that does is these summer breeding populations make up for those low winter numbers. Okay, and so you're thinking, I don't know, John, how does that work? Well, let's do some math. Let's imagine that one male and one female leave Mexico. Okay, and let's imagine that all of her offspring are going to survive. And all of those, her offspring, and so forth and so on, for 5 generations. They now know that sometimes there are at least 5 generations that make it up to Canada before turning around in the fall to fly south again. So if they all survive over 8 months, they leave in March and fly back in October, November. By that time, one pair of monarchs will have generated 20 billion offspring. Okay, now, obviously, that's not going to happen, right? Because of all the reasons we talked about, the parasites, the caterpillars dying from milkweed and all that kind of stuff. So but this is the driving force. This is what saves monarchs. It's not people raising them and letting them go and that kind of thing. It's sheer mathematics. This is what happens. And this is a low estimate because it's based on only 100 females. And each female can lay up to 500 eggs. So, and then you're up in the quadrillions of offspring. Now, once again, this is never going to happen because of all these things, but that is the driving force. So that's why even if the numbers are ridiculously low coming back from Mexico, they can rebound in a single year. And if there's a shortage of predators for any species, you get what we call an eruption, a huge number. Like, did anybody have stink bugs in their house? Last year or the year before, there was a big, huge eruption of them. So anyway, on a positive note, the monarch is alive and well, so you can sleep easy tonight. It's great. It's really great news. It should be shouted from the housetops. But what happens is because all this bad science, bad, irresponsible reporting, everybody thinks that the monarch is in dire peril. It is not. What is changing and what is evolving and what is going to be fascinating to watch is that behavior is changing. It may not be the best thing for the monarch to migrate anymore. Whoa. What are we going to do instead? They'll stay here in Florida where people are planting Mexican milkweed, which a lot of people say is not a good thing. But we're watching the behavior change, and the numbers of these wintering populations vary wildly from year to year. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, but the species itself is safe and sound. So let's go over the 12 things that you might have learned today. A butterfly's scales can stretch for 2 miles. The proboscis is not a straw. Some butterflies are omnivores. They'll eat dead armadillos. Some butterflies drink reptiles' tears, and they turtle tears. And I keep looking for them up at Lettuce Lake, on the alligators. You might get lucky. All lepidoptera and caterpillar feet have crochets. Some male butterflies have hair pencils. Milkweed can kill young monarch. Caterpillars, monarchs are not endangered or threatened. And never believe everything you read or hear, including what I just wrote. Does anybody notice anything? Huh. There's not 12 things there. There's only 10. But that's how it happens. That's how it happens, folks. So anyway, I want to thank you. You've been wonderful. And I hope I've given you, if you don't agree with anything, I know this is controversial. This is obviously, I would be surprised if you expected what you saw tonight. But this is my take on things. I think for myself, I don't believe anything I read. I research the papers that those reports are made based on. And what you read in the actual science papers is not what you see either people talking about. So anyway, I hope I've given you something to think about at the very least. Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Anybody have any questions for John?
I'd just like to make a statement. There is an advantage to being bald and working in the garden. When your head is sweating, you'll have the honor of red admirals on top of your head.
Happened to me.
Yes.
Was it good for you?
Couldn't feel anything.
Did you get a picture of it?
No. No, I don't have a picture.
Well, the promo picture that Ann sent out of the hat, I have one on this. Yes.
Yeah, the button on your head.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Anything else?
I just want to ask you,
Oh, finally? Whoa. I get offers like that now.
oh, well, I'll ask you. Black and white butterfly, and the bottom of the underside of the butterfly is different than the outside. And there is a male and female together, and they look at they're having fun. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, as everybody.
So John, can you come back over and talk? Yeah, can't repeat the question and talk here.
Okay, one of the participants here asked a question about butterflies, that they were mating and the male looked different than the female, and the tops and bottoms look different also. So that's typical. We say that the butterflies are sexually dimorphic. That means that they look different. And I showed you those skippers, one species of skipper. We have 4 things to learn. So
That the top was different than the underside. Yeah, that's not.
yeah, that's typical. We say the dorsal view is different than the ventral view. Well, I don't know. I'd have to see a picture. Black and white with orange. There's a lot of them. If you've got a picture, I'll be happy to look at it. Great. Anything else? Yes. Mhm.
So, John, come back and repeat the question.
Okay, the question was, one of the participants here planted a twine vine, but was a native plant in hopes of attracting pollinators, butterflies specifically, but as not seeing any on it. And that is typical. And as much as it pains me as a native plant enthusiast to say so, butterflies like everything. And one of the favorites of monarchs is zinnias, which are not native. A lantana, if you go out to Fort DeSoto, one of our favorite places, look at the lantana. I guarantee you're going to see those mangrove skippers. That's their favorite plant. So just because the plant is native doesn't mean that the butterflies are going to like it. Just because the plant is not native doesn't mean that the butterflies are not going to like it. Native and non-native are human constructs. Nature does not know what native and non-native means. It just doesn't know. Doug, with all due respect to Doug Tallamy, what the butterfly is interested in is nectar.
It's the plant food though, for the monarch.
The monarch. The twine vine?
It's a native milkweed, a native milkweed vine that is supposed to be plant, a lot of the plant food for the butter, for the monarch.
Okay, I'm trying to picture it. It has very narrow leaves, doesn't it? Yeah. There are 20 species of milkweed native to Florida.
And most of them are not suitable host plants. Just because it's a milkweed doesn't mean that the butterflies are going to use it. For example, Asclepias pedicellata, which grows right not far from my house in the nature trails, it's only up for maybe a month tops, and it's only 3 inches tall. So a caterpillar, you've seen them devour, the milkweeds. So that's why the non-native Curasavica is so popular, because it grows all year round. Butterflies love it. It's the monarch's favorite food. I hate to say that, and I know a lot of people are going to argue with me. I'll get hate mail here, but the butterflies love it. That's what you see it on it. I have butterflies every day of the year in our Sun City Center community garden plot, because several people have planted that milkweed, and the butterflies love it. It's good for the butterflies. There are downsides to that plant because they don't die. The plants don't die back. They maintain the supply of parasites of the OE. But I could do a whole program on OE too, but I'm not going to do it. Now, I will just say that OE has probably co-evolved with the monarch. It was only discovered in 1966. And once again, they're basing all of these things on supposition and guesses about what it was in the past. But OE has most likely co-evolved with the monarch because it's found worldwide. It's found in Hawaii. It's found in Australia. It's found everywhere. So it's, not something to worry about.
It was just on the.
Right.
I guess it's one of those things you can't believe.
Right. Well, yeah. One of the favorites is the Sandhills milkweed, Humistrata. But anyway, any other questions? Everybody's packing up. I just want to say thank you once again.
Fantastic.
Food for thought.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. That was really good. That was very interesting.
Thank you.
Yeah, I didn't.
Thank you.